इससे पहले कि आप बाकी क्लिप देखो बॉस, प्रेस द सब्सक्राइब बटन, प्रेस द बेल आइकॉन, बिकॉज हम यहाँ पे हमारी कॉन्वर्सेशंस के सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग, पावरफुल, फनी और यूनिक मोमेंट्स यहाँ शेयर करते हैं. PGX क्लिप्स, प्रेस सब्सक्राइब, प्रेस बेल आइकॉन. You know, I've often wondered if you take this idea of human malleability to heart, and if you were to just look at the way the world is shaped up right now, particularly with how cozy we are with our media devices, you know, our phones and our iPads and our PCs, and how cozy we are with our social media outlets, whether that's Instagram, TikTok, or it would seem that a lot of behavior is very inducible. Like you could trigger certain things to create certain patterns, right? Like if I were to just take what you were saying seriously, 80% of the people, I can create a social environment on my phone that would make them behave a certain way. Is that something that follows or tracks?
That's exactly right. And that's what you see playing out at scale around the world, not just in terms of commercial business, but also in terms of influence campaigns and the information war landscape. If you open the newspaper today, you'll see that there's news about every conflict in the world, right? Between Pakistan and India, there's conflict. Between India and China, there's conflict. Between the United States and Russia, there's conflict. Between Russia and Ukraine, there's conflict. In every one of those stories, what you see, you naturally take to be reliable information. That's what you think it is first. When in fact, what you're looking at is an information warfare landscape. It's information that's been released selectively. It's information that's been crafted by a journalist. It's information that's been reviewed by an editor, and it's information that's been approved for publication by a publisher. So there's at least 3 to 4 people who are standing between the real information and what you read on everything out there. That's one of the reasons that people find their way to more non-traditional media like podcasts, because there's really only one person between your thoughts and your audience, and that person is you. There is no editor, there's no publisher, there's no person who sweeps in and says, oh, Prakhar, you can't say that. Oh, Prakhar, let's say this a different way. That's not what's happening. So there's this growing movement of trust because people feel like these non-traditional outlets of media are somehow more reliable simply because there's less layers filtering the information.
Yeah, you know what I was thinking, and this is something that's come from just operating in media for a while and seeing how the shit show works, really. I tell my friends all the time. In fact, I tell my family first because, you know, older people are much more susceptible to reading something and finding it to be true, or watching something and finding it to be true. I always tell them, ask yourself, why are you privy to this information? Because somebody wants this information out and they want it out in this specific angle. And the behavior that you think will ensue from knowing this information is probably what they wanted in the first place. So know you're being gamed. Like, be very aware of the fact that you're probably being gamed in a certain way. And this tracks for literally everything, like from advertising, which is a more honest, blasé form of induction of behavior, to reels and news things on Twitter or your newspaper or your WhatsApp forwards and whatever that might be. It's such an interesting thing to know how media shapes behavior when you're behind the curtain, dude. It
And I
blows my
want to
mind.
say, absolutely, and I think it's important because to say it more accurately, I would say that media doesn't shape behavior. Media understands how behavior happens. So then all you have to do is shape the media around the behavior that you want. Because people are going to do what people do. It's the way it works. This is the magic of an algorithm, right? An algorithm is really a computer code that you can create that will work the same way for millions of people, even though the individual algorithms that they see are different, right? An 11-year-old girl might see an algorithm that has to do with dancing cats and makeup. And a 25-year-old man might see algorithms that have to do with motorcycles and women in bikinis jumping on trampolines. But the actual computer code that makes their algorithm is the same because the algorithm was created to follow their behaviors and then to modify the content in order to maximize the viewership and the retention. And the reason that works is because we know that cognitively human beings trust familiar things. So if you show them something they like, and if you show them something they like over and over again, that familiarity breeds trust. And that's why you have some people who love using X and some people who love using Instagram and some people who love using TikTok, because those algorithms have been tuned to the things that those people like. And now subconsciously, those people assume that what they actually like is the social media app itself instead of the algorithm inside the app that's feeding them what they want. That's why it was such a game changer when they started creating advertising algorithms. So now, if you or I look at a pair of leather shoes, anywhere we travel on the internet is going to keep showing us leather shoes from the same place that we were looking at them, leather shoes from other competitors, because now we have a way of actually tapping into the algorithm to target the person who's already susceptible to the message.
You know what I think about algorithms, particularly in this case? Algorithms are like mirrors, They'll tell you more about yourself than anything. And there's a running joke between me and my friends about what your For You page on Instagram shows will tell you what you're thinking. But, I also feel like this mirror sometimes comes too fast. And I have a story I tell people. There was a time, maybe a few months ago, my then girlfriend, now fiance, soon to be wife, we were arguing over something. And then very quickly, right afterwards, I am on my Instagram feed and it's all this stuff about how women are toxic. And I'm like, this is not something I subscribe to, but it's coming in so, and very quickly, I was more pissed at her than I was before. But that's not where it ends. I spoke to her and she said something very similar. She was like, I was getting reels about how men are all wrong. And I was like, that's kind of insane. This could have actually accentuated our fight. Like, I'm not saying that the algorithm seeks to do that or the media companies seek to do that. I'm not placing the onus of mistake on anyone. But we are in a place where effectively somebody, if they really wanted to shape my behavior in a certain way, they could. Like, I think we're very close, very proximate to that.
Especially when you consider the rise of AI, because the rise of AI makes it so that an AI agent could essentially tune the algorithm in real time faster than any human programmer could. And a separate AI agent associated with the first AI agent could create customized content that further exacerbates a behavior. So it's almost like if you think of it like fishing, the way that you fish is you put a worm on a hook and you throw the hook in the water, and you know you're looking for a certain kind of fish, whether it's a bass or a trout or a catfish on the bottom. So when the right fish is attracted to the right bait, it bites and the hook is hooked, and then the fisherman has to reel it in and let it out and reel it in and let it out to tire the fish out before they pull the fish all the way in. It used to be that we would be able to cast a lot of hooks, but they all had the same bait. And then technology made it so we could change the bait and just throw hooks. But now we didn't have any way of reeling it in and tiring the fish out. As we continue to innovate with technology, and as we continue to automate, and as we continue to create artificial intelligence that learns these capabilities from computer codes that we can tell them, now all of a sudden you have 10,000 fishermen that are all automated, that are all letting out the line and reeling in the line and tiring out the fish so that they can be caught. And why do we catch a fish? We catch a fish to fillet it, to eat it, to sell it, to use it in some way that doesn't benefit the fish. And that's what we've all become. We're all fish in this lake that whatever happens to us doesn't benefit us anymore.
Bro, अभी तो हमने बिल्कुल surface scratch किया है. If you want to know कि क्या मस्त, interesting, innovative, unique conversation, which was a full conversation, तो आप जाओ main channel पे और click करो यहाँ.